Hello, everyone. A ride that opened my eyes. When I was doing ride share, there were many rides that I was a part of, grateful and appreciative for. Looking back, and to be honest, every ride opened my eyes, but I will admit there were more that opened my eyes than others. I remember one time I picked up a woman from downtown, and she was getting off work allegedly. At least that's what her man thought. And I know this because she was talking to her girlfriend on the phone as she got in the back seat. Again, she was talking so loud I had no choice but to learn a lesson. You know when a person talks too loud, you don't have a choice but to hear and take in the intel. So I did as such as I drove her home. I mentioned this before, but I'm going to paraphrase it. Basically, she stepped out on her man. Um, for whatever reason, I think she didn't respect him from everything I heard. I mean, most people would do certain things because they don't respect people. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it tall, nothing more, nothing less. And that just opened to my eyes to how some people are. In that sense, some people step out and they have their other reasons, aka excuses, and it is what it is. I'm not the morale police, but in taking this woman from downtown back towards the Oak Cliff area in Dallas, it was just like just reiterated that be grateful for all the relationships that do work, even if they do come to a conclusion. But be grateful that um, they worked in a way that you can be happy about it inside and out. And just how she was just talking like she was ungrateful and she didn't appreciate her situation. And I mean, for her to call her girlfriend up to be her alibi or her doing dirt, I was like, that's undefeated right there. That's undefeated. That is undefeated. And I know you all may be wondering, what did I do once I dropped her off and I saw her man come out and greet her? I didn't say nothing. I wanted to, but that ain't my place. That ain't my business. Because I'm sure he got the warning signs in the beginning that her interest in him wasn't really high, but that's a whole nother discussion. Um, Another ride that I had that opened up my eyes. I had a few of these when I picked someone up from their residency, a business, their residency, and sometimes it was a business residence address, like hospitals, doctor's appointments, and having to take them downtown or take them to a homeless shelter. Like there was a homeless shelter near Lancaster in the DFW area, specifically Fort Worth. And if anyone has been over there, you know that they have it's abundance of homeless people depending on where you're driving at. And dropping people off there and just seeing loads and loads of individuals um, that don't have a home. That just opened my eyes to be very appreciative for me having my own place and everyone else in the world having their own place, and that something as simple as having a roof over your head to stay at. There's people that just take that for granted. And granted, some of these people that are in these homeless shelters, they may have mental illnesses, but I don't think they all do. They just anytime I thought I was having a challenging day or a tough day or things were hard, but as I was taking the client to the homeless shelter, and they were of all races and all different ages. I mean, they were all adults, of course, but they were at different pockets in life and different phases. And some of them, they had an upbeat attitude. They were going to beat it and come out on top. And the other individual just looked like they were going to get there. It was going to just take them some more time to just deal with their situation. But those were rides that opened up my eyes. Of course, another ride that opened up my eyes when I was doing ride share was I would pick up a parent, and the parent would have their child with them, and their child was like of young age. And when I say young, under 10 years old. And the mother having to apologize to the child because they were unable to purchase them anything for Christmas as well as for their birthday. Granted, on the way taking them to where they resided, that the parent was going to not be there with them the next day because they had to go and work crazy hours, having to provide and do what she needed to do. That's just tough. After that ride, it just made me be thankful that I had both of my parents, and they provided, and they just did what took care of their responsibilities, and even dropping them off. They didn't stay in the best area, but not staying in the best area was better than not having no area to stay in. So yeah, again, people think they have it tough, think times are hard, but environment is everything, as we know. Anyone out there that's an adult, heck, even teenagers, even kids know what the way social media is and all that they're privy to. Your environment is everything, and I'm just grateful and appreciative to be able to be in the proper environment. And even thinking about some of these kids, I'm grateful for the kids who has parents that are able to have them in the proper environment. And I pray that one day, all the parents are able to put their kids in a position where they're in an environment to thrive, meaning have the best education, the best security, the best of friends, even though life has a way of happening, working it out. So that was always eye-opening, those rides. And then, of course, those rides that were eye-opening were people that were coming to the DFW for business. And, just how being on a plane, depending on what part of the globe you're coming from, how it can drain you, depending on the hour of the day. I would pick folks up, some individuals, the ones that I would pick up at night, there would be a woman or a man, a few words, just trying to get to their hotel. If it was someone in the morning, they were full of life. And I definitely knew that they were there on business. Um, some of the individuals was their first time coming to the DFW area. Some of the individuals, they were back for a second and third time. And all of those experiences told me that, you got to always be ready and be on the go and be able to get up and be mobile. And it's just those opportunities that I had just had me being very fortunate that I'm able to get up and move around and travel and hop on the plane if need be and make it happen, and even afford a rideshare driver to get me from point A to point B. Something else as far as rides that opened up my eyes when I was doing rideshare, of course, how can I forget picking up the elderly? The elderly were always in good spirits, the ones that were sent my way, or I would sit their way, any way you want to look at it. They were just very calm. They had a lot of stories with some unfortunate news that was relayed to me when I would pick up some of the elderly. They would tell me about the mistreatment, like where they were staying, or how the youth would not hold the door for them and wouldn't want to help them, and said things that were just insensitive and unruly. I have nothing but respect for the elders because, hopefully I get to that age where I can be an elder. I've seen me picking up a person from their apartment or their residency for seniors, having to grab the door for them, and they would have their walker. I wouldn't rush them. I would hold the door for them, tell them to take their time, open up the back seat, make sure they get in, and just do what needs to be done, because that puts everything into perspective. Because we all have grandparents, all had grandparents at one time. Those of our grandparents that are no longer with us, and man, it's just that's a lot of life. That's a lot of living. Um, it's a lot that even I was able to learn from taking them to Walmart, taking them to Target, wherever they need to go, taking them to the gas station, taking some of them to get their smokes. It was all lively and dope experiences, and it just helps understand that while people may think that you're young, they don't really know what old is, because a lot of people have a lot of living out there and they just don't know it. So those are some of my experiences, some of the rides that I had that opened my eyes and still continue to open my eyes as I reflect about my time spent as a rideshare driver. And anyone that's in the rideshare field in any capacity, I'm sure you all could relate. I believe everyone has family members. Everyone has people around them that's getting older and seeing how life is lifing, as people say. And I just want to bring this to you all. Hopefully, this can help you all in any capacity, and even if it's unable to, it can help you, modify your perspective. And not just this video, but if you click the link below, you can go and grab my book, and my book can definitely help you. It can help a friend. In fact, it can even help an enemy. And because everything is about mindset, everything is about perspective, being grateful, and just understand everything in life is just about preparation and opportunity. I think if you purchase the book, you'll get all those things, and you'll also understand that you're not the only one that's enduring the good times or the bad times. But I don't want to continue to hold you all. You all have a good day, and talk to y'all later. Peace.